All right, guys. I've got some things for you. Let's get this part B done, and then we will, I'll tell you, I'm going to give you some pointers on some things for your test, and then how to make a cheat sheet. All right, so here we go. One thing on here that I wanted you to be aware of is that those should not have been there. Those made those look like they were negatives, and they were not negatives. So I think I told everybody that when we were doing it. But so 3 times a number. We know that 3 times a number is going to be 3x. 3 times a number less than. Anytime you see less than or greater than, you're going to throw that to the end. That means that this is going to have this. We almost could do this. Do it from here. This has to be thrown to the end. And then 3. So 3 times a number is going to have to be at the end less than 3. So that would be 3 times a number less than 3 is C. So this was C. Okay? 3 times a number less than 3. 3 times a number, 3x, increased by 3. Increased by 3 means that we're increasing this by 3. So 3 times a number increased by 3 is D. Most everybody got these, except they got this one and this one mixed up. 3 less than 3 times a number. So we've got 3 less than, we're going to throw that 3 to the end, 3 times a number. So we got 3 times a number, and then 3 less than that would be A. Okay? So less than means that whatever's right here has to be thrown to the end. 3 times the difference of a number and 3. 3 times, comma, that comma turns into a parentheses. That comma turns into a parentheses. 3 times the difference of a number and 3. So 3 times the difference of a number and 3. So x minus 3. That's B. And then the quantity of. The quantity of means parentheses. And it's typically always whatever comes right after it. The sum of a number and 3. So the quantity of the sum of a number and 3. The sum of a number and 3. Tripled means you're going to multiply by 3. So that's E. Okay? All right, now we're down to the solving. I'm going to go through these kind of quick, but that doesn't mean you can't stop the recording and pause it. Sorry. Sorry. You can pause this, rewind it, do whatever you need to do to go back and look at it again and get what you need, okay? So even though I may be moving through it kind of quick, that doesn't mean you can't slow it down and do what you need to do with it, all right? I'm trying to find. Okay, so here we go. On this one, here's my variable term, here's my constant term. So I'm going to go ahead and do my T-chart. I told everybody in tutoring this afternoon, some of you still need this, some of you don't. If you don't have to do this, don't do it. But if you do need it, I'm going to continue doing it just because there's some people who are wanting to do that. We have 1C and 1B, so 1C, 1B, go to your T. That's pretty good. 1C, 1B, go to your T. So, here's my variable X. There are going to be 2 operations that are going to be happening right here with X. The first one we're looking for is what kind of addition or subtraction is going on over here with X. And the second one is going to be what kind of multiplication or division is going on over here with X. Well, here's my X. And we're looking just at X. X is having 2 added to it. So 2 is being added to X. and 4 is being multiplied. X is being multiplied by 4 and having 2 added. We're going to always list the addition and subtraction first because that's what we're going to have to take care of first. Over here, we're going to write the inverse. So the inverse of adding 2 is subtracting 2. The inverse of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. We're going to start showing our division like this with a horizontal fraction bar, because one of the 8th grade teachers came over here yesterday and said that was something that students were still not understanding and not doing as well as they needed them to in 8th grade. So I'm going to continue we're going to be doing it that way from now on, just to kind of reinforce that, make sure you're ready and know when you get to 8th grade that that's what that means. Sorry, I had to have something to drink. My voice is about gone. So we're dividing right here, and if you need to put you some little dividing dots right there, that's fine. But this is what we're going to use back over here. We're going to come back over here, and we're going to subtract 2. We're going to subtract 2 right here, and we're going to come across the equal sign, across the road, and subtract 2 right there. Okay? We're going to cross the road and do it on the other side too. I tell students all the time, if I take off my right shoe, I'm going to take off my left shoe. I got to go to the right of the equal. Whatever I do on the left of the equal sign, I got to do on the right, and vice versa. This zeroes out. Bring down your 4x equals 26 minus 2 is 24. Now I divide by 4. And x is going to equal 6. X is going to equal 6. Now, I am going to post a key that's going to look a little bit better than this for everybody to look at and go back to as you need it. Okay? You hear me? All right, so next one. I don't have any parentheses, no distributive properties. So all I've got to do now is look for my like terms. And I have a 4y right here and a plus 3y right here. So I've got to combine those. I've got to take 4y and 3y, put them together, and I get 7y. So over here, I've got 7y minus 9 equals a negative 44. All right, 7y minus 9 equals a negative 44. Now, I'm going to be using my calculator so that you can see, you need to use your calculator. So now I'm ready. I've got one variable term and one constant term, and one c and one v, I can go to my t. So now I've got y. Y is my variable. What is happening with that y? Well, I'm trying to find a pen that don't have a little bitty thin point, and I can't find one. There's my y. What's happening with y? Y is having 9 subtracted. So we've got a minus 9, and we've got to multiply by 7. Y is being multiplied by 7, and it's having 9 subtracted. So on my t-chart, I'm going to put the inverse on this side. This would be a plus 9 and a divide by 7. Plus 9 and divide by 7. I'm going to move that down a little bit. And we're going to divide by 7. Those are the two things we're going to come back over here and do. So I'm going to add 9 here, add 9 here. And right here, guys, is when you come to this calculator. And I'm going to put minus 44 plus 9. And I get a negative 35. Equals. This zeroes out, and I bring down my 7y. So now I have 7y equals negative 35, and I'm going to now divide by 7. Divide by 7. This 7 divided by 7 gives me 1, which is where my 1y. That's my 1y. 1y equals negative 35, and you're going to put that in your calculator. Negative 35 divided by 7. Oops. Negative 35 divided by 7 is a negative 5. Negative 35 divided by 7 is a negative 5. Okay? moving right along because I don't want to waste any time. And like I said, you can stop this, you can slow it down, you can rewind it, you can back it up, you can watch it 100 times if you need to. So now our expression's over here. So I've got a negative 36 equals. First thing I've got to do is, I have no distributive property. There's no parentheses, so I'm looking for like terms. I'm going to circle my like terms. There's a negative 4y and a negative y. Remember, this sign that is just to the left of the term is the sign that goes with that term. This is a 1y. You may want to pencil that 1 in just so you remember that it's there. Now I'm going to take my negative 4y and my negative 1y, and I'm going to just jot them down over here, and then I'm going to come to my calculator. Negative 4 minus 1 is going to be negative 5. So that's a negative 5y. So I'm going to come over here to my equation. I'm going to rewrite my equation. Negative 36 equals negative 5y and then minus 11. Negative 5y minus 11. Now I have 1b and 1c, and I can come over here to my t. I look at y. Y is having, this is y. This is the inverse. We're subtracting 11, and we are multiplying by negative 5. So the inverse of that is to add 11 and divide by negative 5. So I'm going to come back over here and do that. I'm going to add 11 over to the right, and then I'm going to add 11 over on the left. We always work off the side right here. This zeroes out. Bring down your negative 5y, and negative 36 plus 11 is a negative 25. Now I'm ready to divide by negative 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 gives me my y, my 1y. Negative 25 divided by negative 5 is a positive 5. And you need to put that in your calculator. Put that in your calculator, okay? Looking at this one. Right here is my distributive property. I see these parentheses and it goes distribute, distribute, distribute. So I am distributing this positive 3. I've got to take this positive 3 and multiply it right there. I've got positive 3 times a negative 3x. That gives me a negative 9x. You're going to put it in the calculator. 3 times negative 3 is a negative 9. Then I've got positive 3. Positive 3 times 11 is going to be 33. So that's this. Don't forget to bring down your x, okay? Got to bring that x down. And that's going to be equal to negative 31. So I've got, it's leaving me, guys. It's leaving me. So this x has to come down here. Don't forget about your x. So I've got x minus 9x plus 33. This minus 9x plus 33 is what we got right here when we distributed. And that's all equal to negative 31. So now, circle your like terms. There's a 1x and a negative 9x. So I've got 1x minus 9x. If I put that in my calculator, 1 minus 9 is a negative 8. So that's negative 8x. So I have negative 31 equals negative 8x plus 33. Then I'm going to come right here to my, and I have x and the inverse What am I? I'm looking for addition, subtraction first. So I'm adding 33 and multiplying by -8. I'm adding 33 and multiplying by -8. So the inverse of that is to subtract 33 and divide by a -8. And divide by a -8. So I'm going to come back over here and do that. I'm going to subtract 33. That zeroes out. Subtract 33. When I subtract 33 right here, -33 minus, oops, so it's -31 minus 33 is a -64. Equals, bring down your -8x. Then I'm going to divide by -8. Divide by -8. This divides out and leaves me that 1x. There's my 1x, and that's equal to -64 divided by -8 is a +8. It's a +8. You've got to put these in the calculator, guys. You got to. All right, again, I know I'm moving through that kind of quick. But stop this, start it, go through, do whatever you need to do. Rewind it, however you need to do it, okay? All right, so now let's move on and look at these inequalities. We're going to solve these inequalities the same way we were solving those equations. We're going to start over here with our expression. We have no distributive property, so we're looking for our like terms. And I have a -9n and a +1n. So I have -9n and a +1n. And when you put -9n with a +1n, you're going to get a -8n. And I'm doing this on the calculator every time because I think that you don't do it on the calculator because you don't see me doing it on the calculator. You got to, okay? And so I'm going to put it in there. So now I'm going to but also look at what else we got. We got a 1 and a +9. Those are constant terms. So I've got 1 + 9, which is 10, okay? So now I want to rewrite this into my new equation. 42 is greater than or equal to -8n + 10. Now I've got one V and one C, so I can come over here to my T. I've got n and the inverse. Here's n. What addition and subtraction do I see? I see +10. What multiplication division do I see? I see multiplying by 8. We're playing I Spy. I Spy addition, I Spy multiplication. Now what's the inverse of +10? -10. What's the inverse of multiplying by -8? Dividing by -8. I'm going to take this and come back up here and do it. I'm going -10 right here, -10 right here, and I get -8n. 42 minus 10. 42 minus 10 is 32. Then I divide by -8. Divide by -8. Now, beep, beep, pause. In this step right here, if you divide by a negative, this sign right here, this sign right here, this sign right here, the sign in the problem, if you divide by a negative, the sign in the problem has to flip around. So flip that around. This -8 divided by -8 leaves me my n over here. 32 divided by -8, 32 divided by -8 is a -4. Okay, so now we got to get it on the number line because you do have number lines on the test. But I don't like putting it on a number line like this. So what we're about to do now is get it so that our variable is, if we put the variable on the left, we can better see how to graph it. And this is where I call it mirroring. It's like looking in a mirror. This is looking in a mirror. Here's my mirror. Okay, here's my mirror. I'm going to put my n right here and my -4 right here. I just want to get this in. I want this on the left. If I put this on the left, then my inequality symbol can help me know which way my arrow's going to point. But I can't do that if the n's on the right. But I also got to make sure the value of this, that this doesn't change. This is my solution. This is the solution. It cannot change. We can rewrite it, but it has to have the same meaning. And the way you rest assured that that's going to happen is you just look at this and say, okay, it's opening up to the n. So it needs to open up to the n over here. This has got to open up over here to the n. So we have n is greater than or equal to -4. Over here it says the same thing. N is greater than or equal to -4. But it's easier to graph. It's easier to graph from there. That is easier to graph. And so we're now going to take that. This is going to be a closed dot because of this sign right here. If it has an equal to symbol, you have a closed dot. So I'm going to go to -4, put my dot, and it's greater. N is greater than or equal to -4, so then my arrow is going to go this way. And if you see this right here, kind of helps you with that. But you can't do that if it's like this. You got to mirror it and make it so that it's the variable is on the left. But you also don't want to change the value of your solution. All right, one more. Okay, so we're looking at this. We have no distributive property. There's no parentheses, no distributing to be done. So my stomach is growling. I hope y'all can't hear it. We're looking for like terms. Have a variable term and a variable term. Constant term, constant term. That -5b, -4b. So I'm going to do -5 minus 4, and I get a -9. So this is -9b. This 8 plus 7, I will give you that. No, I won't. 8 plus 7 is 15. Plus 15 is greater than or equal to 24. Now, I have one V and one C, so I can come over here to my T. Here's my variable B. What addition or subtraction do I see? I see plus 15. What multiplication or division do I see? I see multiplying by -9. This is being multiplied by -9. What is the inverse of adding 15? Subtracting 15. What is the inverse of multiplying by -9? Dividing by -9. We're going to take this and come back over here and do it. Minus 15. I'm on minus 15 on the left, minus 15 on the right. That zeroes out. Bring down your -9b. It's greater than or equal to. I'm going to take my calculator. 24 minus 15 is 24 minus 15 is 9. Is a positive 9. Now I'm going to divide by -9. Divide by -9. Stop. Hold your horses. Because look right here. We're dividing by a negative. If we're dividing by a negative, that sign, these signs have to flip around. If we're dividing by a negative, that sign flips around. This divides and gives me B. This divides 9 divided by negative 9 is a negative 1. Okay? Now, this one makes me happy because the B is already on the left. I don't have to do none of this mirroring like this. I can just get it on the graph now because my B is on the left. So, I'm going to go to negative 1. Negative 1. It's a closed dot. The equal to sign right here means I'm going to close it up. It's a closed dot, and it's going to be less than or equal to negative 1. So it's going this way. And that is it. That is it. I am looking at your test. I am looking at your test. And you do have one on the test that has some distributive property in it, but they're no harder than this. You can do this, okay? You can do this. I do want to show you one more problem. I do want to show you one more problem that you really hadn't seen very much of. That I just happened to notice. It's one of those situations where it's something you should know, but I'm afraid you may not, or you may not think about it. And so we're going to look at it. And this is not the test question, but this is one very similar. Okay, 1/3 x plus 12. All right, and it's asking you to write the equivalent expression. Well, this, I'm going to put extra right here. And I'm going to tell you flat out, guys, I'd put this on my blue piece of paper if I didn't put nothing else, okay? Because you're going to draw your area model. And your 1/3 x is going to go here, and your plus 12 is going to go here, okay? And I'm just going to flat out tell you, for those of you that are watching the video, those of you that are taking the time to do this, I'm going to tell you what to do. You're going to factor out the fraction. So we're going to put our fraction right there. Now, you remember, if we're factoring, we're really dividing, okay? So we're doing 1/3 divided by 1/3. Now, I'm going to show you in the calculator how 1/3 divided by 1/3 is equal to 1. See that? So we got, that leaves us 1/3 divided by 1/3 is going to be x. It's going to be 1x. But I want to show you something. 1/3 divided by 12. I'm sorry. 12 divided by 1/3. Sorry, we're doing 1/3 divided by 1/3. 12 divided by 1/3. Make sure you do it in the right order. Is 36. 12 divided by 1/3 is 36. So this equivalent expression, so this is equal to 1/3 times x plus 36. And I wanted you to see that because we haven't done any of the factoring in a while where the fraction has to be factored out. So you're going to factor out the fraction and then do the division to get the equivalent expression, okay? Factor out your division to get your equivalent expression. So there's part B. We did all of part A, I think we got through it with everybody except 6th period, but they wanted to see part B. Here is part A's key. This is about to go on Google Classroom with this video, along with this key. I will make a prettier key for this. And then I'm going to put a couple of other keys on here that, another thing, if you can still put your hands on this, go back to this because this has got some good questions on it that you might want to use on your cheat sheet. Go back to this. I'm going to put the key for this on Google Classroom as well. Okay? If you use these documents that I'm putting in here right now, and on your put the information onto your cheat sheet from those, you're going to be sitting pretty good tomorrow. All right? You have 4 equations to solve and 4 inequalities to solve and graph. And there will be no multiple choice. There will be no multiple choice for those equations. There are multiple choice answers. Okay? All right, guys. Happy studying. See you tomorrow. We're almost to fall break. Love you, mean it. Mwah.